Hi, my name is Sam Del Rio, and today I want to talk to you about creating an application in Simplified Cloud Lab for AWS. What we're solving for here is ease of access and setup. In the past, you would have to collaborate with several different departments to get your machines provisioned. This could take days or even weeks to get done. With Simplified Cloud Lab, once I create my application and I have my settings in place, I can spin up a single copy or multiple copies within minutes. Hello, and welcome to today's demo for creating an application in Simplified Cloud Lab for use in AWS. Before you can create an application, there are some items that should be in place first. First, we want firewall rules. You'll want to have your rules in place to provide or not provide access to the machines you're looking to create. Second, basic users. You will need to log into the machines, and this is done by creating a basic user under the Items tab. And third, know the requirements needed for the machine or machines you're looking to create. Now that we know these important items, we can move on to creating our application. First, we want to make sure we're selecting the appropriate business unit that the application will reside under. Once done, click on the Create a New App button. Give your app a name and set your provider to Amazon Web Services and click Create. This will bring us to the Application Designer screen where we will design the application. First, we need to create our network. So we'll click on the network icon in the left-hand menu and click on the screen. This creates our network for us automatically. By clicking again into the network, we enter into the Edit Properties screen where we can set our CIDR and set our domain. Setting the domain allows AWS to handle DNS in the background. Next, we will set our subnet. Click on the subnet icon in the left-hand menu and click into your network. This will create your subnet for you. And by clicking into the subnet, again, I can enter to the property screen, set your name, set the CIDR as appropriate, and it should match whatever is our network CIDR. Now here, I can create multiple subnets. Entering each one again to modify its CIDR. Each one must be distinct. Now, these three subnets will automatically be able to communicate with each other. AWS handles that all in the background. The routing is done for you automatically. Now, if I ever need to delete one of these subnets, I simply click on the one I want to delete and hit my delete button, and it will remove the subnet for me automatically. Next, we're going to go to creating our machines. So we'll now hit the machine icon on the left-hand side, and then click into the subnet where the machine will reside. It will automatically put it into the Edit Property screen so we can start setting our settings as appropriate for this machine. First, we're going to give it a name. Next, we're going to give it an internal domain name. Now, it's important that when we're naming these, that they should not start with a number. This can cause save issues in the copies later on. Next, we have our Assign Public Domain Name. By selecting this, AWS will assign an external FQDN. Next, we have the key, and the key is typically set by default, as most instances will only have one key associated to the setup, and therefore gets selected by default. If by chance you did have multiple keys, right, you can click the drop down and select the appropriate key. Next, we have the image. And this is about selecting what type of machine we're going to be setting up, right? Is it a Windows Server, Server 2012, Ubuntu, right? Whatever is in our public images folder here, which is created for us by Simplified Cloud Lab. right? Or under the privates tab, which could be images that you had Simplified Cloud Lab import for you, or it could be machine images, right, that you snapshotted from another business unit or another copy, which then makes it available under this machine images list under private. So we'll go ahead and we'll select the appropriate machine image that we want to use for this particular machine. Next, we have type, and this is about setting our resources, right? How much RAM and CPU we want to have for this particular machine. Keep in mind, you can select any one of these, but the more resources you use, right, the more cost is involved. So we do recommend starting out with something on the low side, and if needed, you can always increase those resources at a later time. Next, we have our IP address. And this IP address is the internal IP address of the machine. Do I want to have it dynamically assigned by automatically select IP address, or do I want to set it to a static IP? Again, this will be predicated on, again, what is the use of this machine. Next, we have assign public IP address. By clicking this, right, it will automatically assign an external IP to the machine, which will automatically be associated to the public domain name, right, the FQDN for the machine. Mirror traffic to, this is not a feature that is available for AWS machines. Next, we have volumes. Now, each machine does come with a C drive as part of the machine image that is approximately 60 gigs in size. If I have a need for a secondary drive, say a D or an E drive, I can create that. I can click the Add New Volume button, give it a name, and then I got to give it a device ID. Now, these device IDs are used to map volumes to the operating system's volume representation of the machine. On Linux, the drives are typically /dev/sd B through E, and on Windows, the drives are XVD F through P, with XVDF correlating to the D drive, XVDG correlating with the E drive, and so on. Once I have those set, I select the size of the drive I want and hit Add Volume. Next, we have our Add New Firewall Rule Set. And this again is about how I want to allow access to this machine. All right, I hit the drop down, select the appropriate firewall rule set that I have pre-created, and hit the plus sign. Now you can add additional firewall rule sets as needed. And whatever you add, right, this machine will get then those firewall rule sets for access. Next, we have our new firewall rule. Now the new firewall rule is about setting a one-off access for this machine, right? And it is on a per machine basis. I got to give it a CIDR, make sure it is /32, right? It has to be in that /32 format, otherwise it will not save. Add your ports, whatever is needed, your protocol, and you hit your update. Again, these are about setting one-offs. If this is going to be a rule that you have in use, over and over again, it's best then to create this or add it to a particular firewall rule set, right? So that it can be used in that manner. It should only be used again for one-offs, and which can be useful from time to time, but it shouldn't be set. We shouldn't be setting our firewall rules in that manner. Next, we have add a new basic user. So this is again about adding a user to a machine, right? So this step should then it should populate with the basic users that I've created under the items tab. Right, I would select from the drop down whatever is the appropriate user I'm giving access to this machine and hit the plus sign. Now when this app gets created into a running copy, it will automatically add whatever user you list here as a local administrator on that machine. And again, you can add multiple users as needed. And connections, right? The additional connections, this is a feature only available in the Speed of Light Media private data center. It is not currently available in AWS. Now that we've set all our settings here, we hit our save button, which will save this application. And once saved, it is now made available to start a copy from. This concludes our demo of creating an application in the Speed of Light Media for machines in AWS.